you'll be able to see the rules for the establishment. And depending on the place you go, the rules might be a little different, but essentially the main rules are don't pick up the cats, don't chase the cats, and don't give them any human food. You can, of course, pet the cats and touch them and things like that, but you can't pick them up. Those are the rules. これはルールだよ. So even though those are the general rules and the general process that you follow, depending on the cat cafe that you go to, things are going to vary a little bit in the size and the layout, and even the drink options that are available. So I went to 2 different cat cafes in Tokyo, one in Akihabara and one in Ikebukuro. And these 2 cat cafes were from the same franchise, so they had kind of the same name and logo, but they definitely had different layouts and decor. When you walk into the cat cafe after you wash your hands, you'll be able to see all of the employees on the wall. And by employees, I mean the kitty cats. Then you will see 1, at least, maybe 2 large drink machines. And these are self-serve. You don't have to pay for these. It's kind of like this endless drink machine that you can go to and get any type of drink you like. They've usually not only got coffee and tea, of course, because it's a café. So you can get kohi and ocha, but you can also get Coke and water and hot chocolate, and sometimes some other unexpected drink items, such as Calpis, which is a famous brand of water. And you can even get this type of, I didn't try it, but they did have corn soup, or on here you can see ataka compota, which means warm compote. So lots of different drink options, and there's also other types of things, if you need to mix them into your drinks, like sugar and creamer and all kinds of stuff like that. And depending on the machine that you're looking at, it's usually going to be labeled not only with the Japanese characters to tell you whether it's hot or cold, but if you don't read Japanese yet, it's also going to be color coded as well. So if something is red, it's going to be heated, and if it's blue, then it'll be cold. Before I kind of give you a little walkthrough and let you see what some of these cat cafes looked like with all the cats everywhere, I want to quickly tell you some of the differences between a cat cafe in Tokyo and what a cat cafe is like here in the US, because I've been to several here in North Carolina as well. And so some of the superficial things that you might think of, like having to put on slippers, or that they might be a little bit bigger, that's kind of some of the obvious differences. But I would say cat cafes are also more popular. They're more mainstream than here in the US. But I think it's not just that. It's not just the cultural differences in how popular they are and things like that. There's also a completely different take on the concept of what a cat cafe is and what it's for in Japanese culture. And the way I want to kind of express this to you is when you go into a cat cafe, at least the ones I've been to here in the US, the focus is on, at least in the monetization model, the business model is on the beverages. You don't have to pay to see the cats, but you do have to pay for your beverages. And they've got very fancy, almost Starbucks-like menu where you can get these very high-end coffees, and some of them even have beer and wine on the menu as well. They've got their, alcohol license, and they can serve alcohol. It's very much around enjoying your fancy drink while you're in there with the cat. And you don't have to have a beverage, but normally that's customary. In Japan, it's different because there's nobody there to serve your drinks in Japan. It's self-serve drink machine. It's cheap instant coffee. It's Coke. It's corn soup or whatever. The beverages are much less of the emphasis at a cat cafe in Japan, and the emphasis is more on the experience and especially the time. And the reason why I say that is because whereas in the US, you are charged for all of the drinks you buy, and they encourage you to buy drinks while you're there with the cats. In Japan, you are charged for how long you're in the cafe. And so that's why when you first come in and you put on the slippers and they give you the ticket, they give you the chiketto, with the time that you came in, you will be charged for how long you've stayed there in these 10-minute increments. And because of that, I would say the experience is also differentiated because when you're in an American one, at least the ones I've been to, it's about playing with the cats. You're there for a limited amount of time with your specific beverage that you've paid for, and you're going to play with the cats. And then after your time is up, or after you're done with your beverage, you go get another one, or you go find another cat to play with, things like that. Whereas in Japan, people will come there and they'll just sit there and study, or they'll talk to each other, If you go into a Japanese cat cafe, you'll also see these little vending machines, these tiny little vending machines, where you put in a couple coins and you get some cat treats that you can then feed to the cats. But even though you're able to interact with the cats and feed them in Japan, it's not like it is, at least the one that I've spent the most time at here in the US. All of the cats there are up for adoption. And so that's kind of the other way that the cat cafes here can make their money, is by having the cats up for adoption. So that it's almost like a way to help rehome the cats and rehabilitate them. And so you've always got new cats coming in and out, and you've got a reason for people to keep coming back to meet the new cats that are there and see if they want to adopt one of them. Whereas in Japan, the cats just kind of live there, and they're not up for adoption, they're not for sale. Instead, you're supposed to go and spend time with them. It is so much about the time that you spend there, whether you're engaged with the cats or not. It's all about the atmosphere. The cat cafes in Japan are also fully stocked with manga. Even in a small one, you're going to go in there, there's going to be shelves and shelves and shelves of manga and books. Now I'm going to show you some beautiful cats and some really cute looking cat cafes that I saw in Akihabara and Ikebukuro.
Do you need a receipt? お客様お待ちください。
ほらほら、猫ちゃん。これなにこれなにこれなにこれなにこれなにこれなに猫。どうする？おー、猫ちゃん。See here, you can see the giant row of manga. There's manga there. They're expecting people to come in and sit down and read and really spend some time there. And Yes, because you're in Japan, almost all of the manga you'll find there is in Japanese. If you want to be able to pick up one of these books and read it while you're there and really have the full Japanese experience, then you'll need to spend some time learning Japanese through reading stories. And that's just what you can do in the Japanese courses that I've been taking to learn Japanese called Japanese Uncovered. The reason why learning through stories is so effective as a language learning technique is because the stories are memorable. They give you much more context than a simple app where you're just learning a word or a sentence here and there. It's actually giving you a whole narrative with which to fit the vocabulary and the grammar into. And also the stories get you ready to read. You can go into a cat cafe like this in Japan, anywhere in Japan, and pick up one of the books and read just like a local. So you can get access to this course using the affiliate link if you're ready to start learning Japanese in the most effective and fun way possible. And if you're still not sure and you want to learn more about this course, then I've got an in-depth review that you can watch right here.